What inspired me to write the song Lahaina Ola Hou was my connection with the wildfire. My wife and I have been longtime residents of Lahaina over 40 years, and that night our niece was with us, and we experienced the terror of that encroaching disaster. Our home suffered some damage, not as much as our neighbors who lost everything. And by the way, survivor's guilt is super real. And so I was trying to kind of navigate my own recovery to start off with. And then I sort of came to the idea that maybe my recovery could help other people. And so it became more a song of hope and resilience rather than just grief. Emotionally, we went through a lot, my family and myself. First of all, there's a total feeling of helplessness and lack of control. As the fire came closer and closer, the wind was incredible that evening. We had a hurricane 500 miles away from Hawaii that was just kind of pulling these winds through the valleys. There was kind of like a rain of asphalt and ash debris. You could hardly even walk outside. But I heard my neighbors, and I thought they needed help, so I went out there, and they were helping a kupuna who had ran from his burning home, and he was covered in ash, and his eyes were all red, and he was really bust up. And that we were trying to help him, and they were going to take him, get him cleaned up. And as the fire just got closer and closer, the explosions were the weirdest part. For me, I didn't know that fires came like that. All these explosions getting closer and closer. It's like some kind of war zone. But it was people's propane tanks, their cars, their gasoline cans, boats, just exploding as that monster moved forward. And I came to know dread. So we, with the rest of our neighbors, we finally evacuated. I had the worst poorly planned go kit on the planet Earth. It was a couple of cans of Guinness and a blueberry pie thing. Pretty stupid. Anyway, we evacuated a couple times. We went up to Lahaina Civic Center first, and then we got evacuated from there, just went up north. And we ended up by Kapalua Airport, just kind of turning back to Lahaina and looking at this huge expanse of this wall of flames and fire tornadoes circling up into the sky. By this time it's about 2-3 in the morning. And got our cats with us and my niece, and we're trying to get everybody settled, and everything's like trying to be calm, everything's going to be okay, we're going to get through this. And then this group of young people came by and got on their cell phones, got out of their cars, got on their cell phones, and I hear guys saying, "Lahaina's gone, man, it's gone." And I'm thinking to myself, that can't be true. And then I was getting a little cranky because my niece had just gone to sleep, and so I got out of the car. I was going to go ask them to please keep it down because my wife and my niece were trying to sleep. And as soon as I got out of the car, I went over to them. They just said, "Uncle, we got water, we got food. Can we help you? What do you need?" And that was my beginning of the understanding of how much that fire had ignited the aloha in our community. The aloha became incandescent, brighter than the flames during that period. I started falling in love with Lahaina when I was about 18 years old. I was living on Oahu, and I, after graduation from Kamehameha, wanted to celebrate. So came up to Lahaina with some friends from school, and we stayed at the Pioneer Inn. and we partied pretty hardy. I still have a picture somewhere, I don't think I can find it now, but of me drinking a pint of beer wearing a sombrero when I was 18 years old. And, after that, I eventually, as the years went by, I ended up being asked to, produce a show for the Maui Surf Hotel. And so I really began to fall in love with Maui in general and Lahaina specifically, and got a fishing boat and would take the weekends when I wasn't working. I'd go fishing and met my beautiful wife and began a lifelong, been married 42 years now. So it began kind of way back and as a place of culture, of learning, of healing, of community. And those feelings, that resonance of aloha just kept building and building through the years. Amazing place. I hope when people hear this song that they will breathe, grieve, and remember the aloha that surrounds us and that Lahaina still lives.